Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And today we've got another combo that we haven't tried yet. It's one that I hope we can see some good results out of, but I don't know based on the last test we did with these shells. They were surprisingly not all that great. But I don't know, it could have just been that particular shell, it could have been the choke combo, I really don't know. So I hope today's combo does a little bit better, because I definitely think it can. So for the shell we've got out here today, I brought out some more of the Burgess Creek 410 shells. These ones are the 410 3-inch 7/8 ounce of number 9 TSS shot. And like I said a second ago, the last time we tested these with the Indian Creek choke, they did surprisingly pretty bad actually, so I don't know. These are supposed to be some pretty decent shells, so maybe today's setup might be able to perform a little bit better with them. And as for that setup we've got out here today, I brought out the Mossberg 500 410 turkey with the Carlson's heavyweight TSS choke. This is a 385 constriction, and from everything we've tested through it, it seems to be a pretty reliable choke with most loads. So I'm thinking we should have a decent shot at seeing a pretty good looking pattern today as long as the shells can perform, because we know this shotgun with this choke can do well. And 385 has been a good constriction for us with number 9 TSS before, so on paper it should be pretty good, but we'll just have to try it and see what happens, I suppose. So as for the test today, everything is going to be the same as usual. I have the turkey target set up downrange at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to get our speed, especially since that box doesn't claim a specific velocity, but I believe they were around 1100 or so, but we'll be able to see that speed out of this particular shell. So let's get you guys a view of the target. We'll take our shot, look at our chrono, and then go down and see how they actually performed. I hope we can see some better results out of them today, but there's only really one way to find out, and that's to test it. So let's head over here and take this shot and see what kind of results we can get. Alright, let's look at this chronograph real quick. Now, obviously, as you can see, it read 654, and that is not correct at all. I don't really know why it read this one funny. It really shouldn't have any reason to have read it funny, but apparently it did. Now, I will put up on the screen here what the previous velocity was, because that's probably about what it's supposed to be. I want to say it was around 1100, which is about right if that was the case. But either way, this chronograph reading didn't really tell us a whole lot. But let's go down range to 40 yards and see what kind of pattern we actually did get out of it this time. Alright, now we're down range here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now, clearly we were off to the left, but we do have a pretty stiff crosswind here today. I tried to wait it out as much as I could, but that probably has something to do with it, more than likely, because that combination of choke and shotgun typically hit pretty much where I want it to. But either way, we do still have a dead turkey here. There are several up and down the spine, and one that might have clipped the back edge of the brain, so we did have some leeway. Now, as for our pattern here, it's tremendously better than our previous test with these shells. This is probably a lot closer to what I would have expected. That first shell, I don't know what was wrong with it. If it was just one bad shell or what, I don't know. But even though this is a far better pattern, it's not quite what I would call perfect. It's definitely not terrible whatsoever. It's absolutely a turkey killing pattern at 40 yards all day long. But we do see a few inconsistencies and a couple voids, mainly that void right in that area there. I don't really like to see. Now our core area just above it there looks pretty good, but just when you get outside of that, I don't know, maybe 8-inch circle there, it starts to get quite a bit more sporadic. As you can see, as soon as we move outside of that core, we definitely open up a little bit with plenty of flyers around the edge, even these ones all the way over here on the right. Now, it isn't terrible as for flyers, but definitely a few more than what I would like to see. Now again, that's absolutely a turkey hunting pattern at 40 yards from a 410. If that's what I had, I would absolutely use it. But it's not necessarily the most uniform pattern that we've seen either. That central 8 inches or so of a core, I like that. Minus that one void again over there on the bottom right edge of it. But still, it's way better than what we had previously seen out of these shells. And I'd say that so far, these Burgess Creek shells seem to like, or at least do okay with 385 constriction. So I'm calling it a success today, or at least plenty within the realm of reason for what these shells should be capable of doing. I would not be scared to hunt with that setup. Definitely not a bad pattern by any stretch of the imagination, but there is that little bit of not quite perfectly uniform as soon as you get outside of the core area as well. But at the end of the day, it's absolutely a usable turkey pattern, that's for sure. Okay, and here's the wad from that shell, and as you can see, it opened up pretty much perfectly evenly. These pedals laid pretty much perfectly flat, or close to it anyway. And there's nothing stuck down in there, which seems to be a pretty common problem with 410 wads with TSS, is that we have pellets get stuck down in the bottom, and that's not the case here today. So that's definitely a good thing. And we don't see any rips or tears or anything that I'd be concerned with. Looks pretty good and uniform all the way across. So I think the wad did what it was supposed to do through this setup today. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? Definitely, if you've seen the previous test we did with it, this is in a completely different world from that. Definitely way better. And we absolutely have a turkey killing pattern at 40 yards here for a 410. It would absolutely do the job for you. Now, it wasn't necessarily the most perfectly even pattern that we've seen, but it wasn't terrible at the same time. There was a couple voids in there I didn't like, as well as a few more flyers than what I would prefer to see. But overall, not a terrible performance for a 410 shell. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for a little bit better? And if you've tested these Burgess Creek number 9 TSS shells, what has been your results with them? Let me know all that down in the comments. But at the end of the day, absolutely a good enough 40-yard pattern for a 410. But with that being said, I've got some more testing and film for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.